Hi, I'm Prumihimo and I'm the inventor of the patented Prumihimo disc. And what I would like to show you is how to make this adorable little bracelet using the Prumihimo disc. This is so easy and quick to make. I made all 4 of these bracelets in one day and had time for other things to do. But before you can do that, you do need to know how to braid on the disc and how to add beads. And I have videos for both those subjects, so please make sure you've looked at those and you've had a good old practice, and then you're going to be ready for this. The other great advantage of this bracelet is that you need very few materials. All you need is some satin cord and some beading cord, such as Eslon or Ceylon, some size 8 beads, some pip beads, and a clasp of some sort. So how many do you need? Well, that's what I want to explain to you. All the materials that you use are going to have an impact on the dimensions of the finished bracelet. So if we look at the bracelets I've got here, you will see what I mean. If we look at this one, you can see that the pip beads are very close together, and that is because I have used the 1mm satin cord. You may come across it as rat tail as well, and it can be made in all different countries. It's made in the USA, it's made in Taiwan, it's made in China, and I'm sure it's made in other places as well, and they'll all be a little bit different, so they will have an effect on your braid. So you need to be ready to adjust your braid according to your materials and your requirements. So if you use a very thin satin cord like this 1mm one, and this is a Chinese one, you'll find your beads are closer together, and therefore you're going to need more beads. So for this particular bracelet, I have got 24 pip beads on 2 cords. So that's 48 beads. Now, if we look at this one, I have used 1.5mm satin cord, and this is one from the USA as it happens, but like I say, they're from all different places, and the effect this has had is of spacing out the beads. So on this particular bracelet I used 20 pip beads on 2 cords, so that's 40 in total. And now if we move across to this one, which you can see at a glance is more widely spaced, this is using the 2mm Taiwanese cord. And on this one, I only needed 16 pip beads on each cord. So you decide what you want, depending on the look you're looking for, hoping for, or depending on what you've got in your stash. And just be ready to adjust your quantities. And for each bracelet, you need the same number of size 8 seed beads plus 2. Now, before we get started, I would just like to say something about pip beads, and that is they've got quite snug holes. It's quite a snug fit to get the beading cord through. So my recommendation is that you stiffen those ends with a little bit of clear nail varnish or perhaps some brush-on super glue. Now, there is a trick to this. Don't be tempted to put on lots, thinking that you will make the end of the cord even firmer and make it easier. The problem is the cord will absorb a little bit of either of those products and swell. So you just need a lick of your clear nail varnish or your brush-on super glue, and the trick is to leave it to harden. So leave it to harden for a couple of hours if you can bear it. So get your cords done in advance. Then once they've hardened, snip the end at an angle. And I should also say you should stiffen up about 2 centimeters of the end of the cord, so that if the end becomes a little bit blunt as you're threading your beads on, you can just snip the end again to make it firmer. So let's get started. So this is the setup. I'm hoping that you've already watched my video on how to braid with the Prumihimo disc and how to add beads to your braids. It's very important that you've practiced both of these techniques before you start on something like this. The quantities of cord that are needed, and that applies to all different widths, are of your thicker cord, your satin cord or rat tail, you need 4 lengths of 60 centimeters. For your thinner cord, which is the Ceylon or Eslon 0.5 millimeters, you need 2 cords of 60 centimeters, and they will be positioned in the top and bottom slots at number 4. And you need 2 cords of 70 centimeters, and they will be in the top and bottom slots at number 3. Now these quantities are going to be generous, as always, so keep notes of what works for you, so you'll know next time if you can cut back a bit on cord. The beading pattern is on both the top and bottom cords at number 3. You want an alternating pattern of beads, which will start with a size 8 and finish with a size 8. So for however many pip beads you need, as explained in the first part of this video, you need seed, bead, pip bead, seed bead, pip bead, seed bead, pip bead, etc., finishing with a seed bead. So let's get started. As usual, we do our moves at top and bottom at number 1 and at number 2, keeping the disc nice and level, keeping the cords straight. The thinner cords will always move a little bit. Don't worry too much about that. Just keep straightening them up as necessary. Now when we get to number 3, we're going to drop in our first seed bead. I'm using my thumb just to keep it in position in that V. And from the bottom cord at number 3, I'm also going to drop in a seed bead. I'm keeping an eye on those beads to make sure they stay in position. I'm performing my moves at number 4, all 3 of them. Then I carry on round. Now my cords are getting a little bit tangled because of course I'm working over a table. Make sure you're allowing everything to hang freely. So I'm doing my moves at number 1 and at number 2. And then when we get to number 3, just tightening my cords up there a bit, I'm going to drop in a pip bead. I'm just going to slide it down. Sometimes these can feel a little bit tight on the cord. Just hold the cord really tight as I did and it'll slide down. Drop it into position. Might need a little tap to encourage it to stay there. And the same with the bottom cord. So again, what I'm doing is just holding the bead tight, so the cord tight, so the bead slides down, giving it a tap into position, finishing my moves, keeping an eye on it. Where's this cord gone to? There we go. So my moves at number 4, and then when we carry on round to number 1 and number 2, we're back in the same sequence again. So the next bead to be dropped down is a seed bead from top and bottom. My advice is to keep your beads fairly close to the disc so that you keep them under control, and then you can just move your stop bead up and down to keep the beads, to release a bit more cord when you need it, or to keep the beads nice and close. And so that is how you continue. Just carry on round, dropping in a bead every time you move the cords at both top and bottom at number 3. You've already planned the pattern on your cords, that alternating pattern, so you will get the alternating pattern on your braid. Now I've just done a couple here. We're just going to turn it over to see what's happening, and you can see what I mean. We've got the alternating pattern, and all you need to do is continue until you're happy that your braid is the right length. So that was easy, wasn't it? For finishing techniques, look for one of my other videos. I've got a video showing you how to finish with the glued method and another one with the wired method. So I made 4 in one day. How many can you make? If you're interested in finding out more about my disc, go to my website, Prumihimo.com, and you'll also find my book, The Prumihimo Disc, A Fresh Approach to Kumihimo. And if you'd like to know about more videos that I might have coming up, just subscribe to the channel. Feel free to make any comments that you'd like to, and I hope you'll join me again on this lovely Kumihimo journey. Bye!